This is Married at First Sight, Series 10, Episode 27. I saw Rebecca on her TikTok account. I don't know who makes it through. To kind of see Rebecca doing her own video, I'm just like, oh, so do you not make it then? Even if they've invited you onto a show in order to act in that way, over exaggerated like some pantomime villain, would you really do that knowing full well that there's another person there who make him look like an absolute loser? Like, I don't know.
Holy guacamole, these fajitas are fire.
Wait, got reaction.
You can get us in the kitchen,
The piece of bad boy information that got dropped though was apparently that he's on some kind of dating app. I now have to kind of face people that I love and that I trust and that I respect who are also looking at me just being like, no, thank you, not doing that. Oh, welcome, people, Dems. It's really weird. I've not been here for like a week, or I've not recorded anything for like a week. It just feels like I've been gone for like a month or something. It's absolutely crazy. This is Married at First Sight, Series 10, Episode 27. So the last time I was watching this, I kind of, because I haven't done any kind of digging like online. I haven't really like gone much deeper. I just wanted to kind of just react to what I was seeing and take it at face value. It's increasingly hard to do that, yeah, because when you look at certain things or when you come across certain things, you kind of reminded just how much of an entertainment program it is. So I actually went on TikTok and I saw Rebecca on her TikTok account. I saw a video with Ashley, Bailey and Dean on, I think, Bailey's TikTok account. I saw a video with Kia and Julia-Ruth on Cosmopolitan's TikTok account. I saw a video with David and Lee on someone's account, and all of them, I don't know, obviously there's I don't know who makes it through to the end or which couples are still together, but just looking at that, I was like, there are so many couples there that I'm looking at who, again, Rebecca and Bailey, I'm just like, well, obviously you're gonna make it. So to kind of see Rebecca doing her own video, I'm just like, oh, so do you not make it then? Like, and kind of sort of the same with like Lee and the David situation, because I'm seeing Lee and David, but I'm not seeing Kia and David or Leah and Lee. And likewise, obviously, with the three boys. So there was that. Then I saw a video with it was the black woman from last year, and she was with, is it Omar or something beginning with O, and I'm sure it was Rochelle and Otis or something, and she gave him a hard time, and by the time it finished though, she was kind of a little bit more justified in that it turned out that he was some kind of actor or something and I wasn't necessarily there for the right reasons or whatever it was. But she made a video just saying that, like, if you are thinking about going onto the show, then you need to give the experts the complete opposite of what it is that you want, because what they'll match you with is someone who is completely the person that isn't what you wanted. And then Polly, who was also on, I don't think it was that years. I think theirs was the years before. No, actually, it was the same one, because Holly and I keep calling her Rebecca, but it wasn't Rebecca. He wrote on her videos, kind of basically affirming the same thing, that what you're looking for isn't actually what you get, and you get the complete opposite. And then it's like they're putting people in these kind of toxic situations and stuff, and then offering this kind of help, this kind of like support and this like mental well-being support and stuff, and they basically got nothing. And again, Polly kind of adhered to kind of confirmed that as well. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of taking the wind out the sail. Like, I knew that there was elements of this which obviously are kind of confirmed that as well. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of taking the wind out the sail. Like, I knew that there was elements of this which obviously are enhanced and conducted in order to, you know, create a show and to create something that we're all kind of like bought into and stuff. But there's something Rebecca said, like, when she was talking on her video, that made me go, do you know what? That's a really good point. Like, it's like, the day that you watch me and Bailey get married, she's like, that's like from what o'clock in the morning to like what o'clock the next morning, like in like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. the next day. That's like 18, 20, like it's a long day. Do you know what I mean? It's many, many hours of the day, which I kind of cram down into like 20 minutes. So she's like, there's so many things that you just don't see. There's so many things that we don't know what's going to make the cut, what doesn't make the cut, and how things are there's producers, there's directors, there's all sorts to create a fantastic show that everyone enjoys. And I just thought it kind of brings it home, because obviously the reason that I watch Married at First Sight is because I love the social experiment side of it, like to kind of bring two people together who on paper are matched like so incredibly well. Like, what will happen when you actually bring them like to each other? And then I look at some of the things that have happened in this season and stuff. I'm just like, I just don't understand as to how that could ever possibly be. But yeah, I'm still watching. So I think genuinely this will be the last Married at First Sight that I do react to, because I think if it wasn't for if it wasn't for the need to try and create these situations to make them be what they are, or to entice them or enhance them, or to genuinely put people through these toxic scenarios, like, I think I could get on board with it, because then that's just how people are. So, when I'm giving my opinion about Julia-Ruth and how I just think that she's just one of the worst people I've seen on TV, like, I continue to kind of hold space for that opinion, because I'm like, well, even if they've invited you onto a show in order to act in that way, or to really over exaggerate it like some pantomime villain, like, would you really do that, knowing full well that there's another person there who you're, making look like an absolute loser? Like, I don't know. Although saying that though, I've just seen a video about Devani and some Greek woman who he was engaged to before the previous person that he was engaged to. But anyway, like, all that to one side, I am still watching it at the moment, so I'm gonna finish watching it to know who gets where and who does what. So in episode 27, it's the homestays. You've got John and Abigail going to visit John, where he lives in Wales. Can't remember exactly where. You've got Leo and April going to visit him in Chichester, and he goes to Weymouth as well. You've got Leah and Lee that go to visit Leah in her homestay in Formby, and then you've got Nellie and Stephen, where Stephen ends up going to visit, or going to Nellie's in Manchester. So easy ones first. John and Abigail, like, this is why it makes it hard for me to really understand like where the show sits, because you find someone like Abigail and John who have been matched so incredibly well and have got on so incredibly well and have just stayed, like Kieran David, like just progressing. They're in love with each other. Like, his mom's really happy. All the family love Abigail. The apartment's really cool. Oh, and also Beck and Rebecca and Bailey as well. And everything just seems really hunky-dory happy. Like, you couldn't have wanted a better connection. Like, if you're going into an experiment like this, that's exactly what you'd want. Like, she's so keen and happy to like be part of his life, and he gets all emotional when he's talking about the journey that he's on and how happy that his mum and his family are for him. And it's like, on the one hand, you've got all of this about them not giving a damn, and like as in the experts, like not giving a damn and kind of pairing people with people that they would never ever be put with ever, and being in these toxic situations. But then you look at Abigail and John, it's like, well, then how did it work out so well for you guys? Like, the match is the match is matching. Do you know what I mean? Then you've got Rebecca and Bailey. So she's gone down to his home in Hove. I don't even know where Hove is, but I'm guessing it's like an absolute trek away from Liverpool. So yeah, like a pretty tidy apartment, I'd say. And I always think it's really cool that people allow, because obviously not everyone lives in like a mansion or anything like that. So people are just, you're coming to where I'm at. Do you know what I mean? And that's really cool. And I did feel a bit shame though when she was just like, oh, I think this glass could do the rinse. Like, God forbid anybody ever needed to come to my house and tell me to rinse out my glass first. Are you crap? My mom, I'm not familiar as you. So yeah, they're getting on. I guess the biggest issue for them is about where they're gonna live, because he's trying to convince Rebecca to come down to Hove, um, because obviously he's got Bluebell and he's not looking to kind of uproot her. So then when they go and meet his sister, who looks like they look like twins, like they look so much alike. She's very much like, yeah, cool to meet Rebecca again, but I want to know who's moving where, because that's what we need to talk about. And it feels like such a shame, because I feel like what he was saying was so true. Like, if they can't come to some kind of agreement, because when they were talking about it, it was like the bubble had really popped. And now I'm thinking, is this going to be the thing that kind of drives a wedge between them? Because her business, her family, everything is in Liverpool, and his daughter is in Hove. So he can't uproot her. He can't not see her. And the sisters already said, like, I'd be angry if you even thought about moving. So I think this is going to be a hurdle that I can't get over personally. I mean, could she uplift her business and bring it down to Hove if she wanted to? Maybe. She's got her clinic there. She's got her clients there. It'd probably mean like restarting. And to be fair as well, does she want to? Because I'm kind of getting the vibe that she doesn't want to. Then you've got like Leo and April, and I'll be honest, like April, I've just gone off her completely, and I know it's not your fault when you're not feeling something from somebody. Do you know what I mean? And you can't feign interest, you can't feign hilarity, you can't like all of that stuff doesn't come naturally to someone where you're not feeling it. Do you know what I mean? So him being like, oh, you're gonna see the real me, like I'm gonna be in my comfortable zone. I've got to be honest, even hearing that would make me go, why have I not been seeing the real you already? Realistically, like, okay, I get the fact that being all out there with other people might be a bit crazy, but one of the things that you've introduced yourself as is this hot dog competition, hail bale of hay, you know competitor, larger than life, like weird story guy. And now it's all I'm so conscious and anxious about being around people. Like, I don't know, it just feels as though that she's not getting that real person anyway. That would get my back up. And particularly because even when you're not around other people and it's just me and you, I'm still not getting that conversation. So okay, fair enough though. Let's give the benefit of the doubt. We're both here. And she's making food and he's like, I've got, let's do some magic. And it's like, the ick come, because I felt quite icked out by that, to be fair. But I could tell that he was just trying to be like a little bit goofy and, not taking himself too seriously and stuff. But it's like, you're trying so hard to do that. You're trying so hard to be that person that it makes it disingenuous. Do you know what I mean? Like, and also it's not funny. And I don't know how the editing works, yeah, but that bit where he was staring at her, and I can't remember what it was that he said.
Looks amazing. You're amazing. And I really appreciate you cooking for me tonight.
Thank you.
Holy guacamole. These fajitas are fire.
Wake up reaction.
You can get us some kitchenware.
And it resulted in her being like, I'm gonna go get some kitchen roll. I was just like, wow. It was just, it was uncomfortable to watch, man. And again, I feel for him because he likes her. But I think just genuine, like, having some stuff flow, like, it can't be that hard. And then particularly when he meets his friends and they're all like, oh, he never shuts up. Like, you getting puppied. Like, what's happened? Is he so, like, starstruck by her and her infinite Aphrodite-esque beauty, that he can't just talk to her like a normal person? Yeah, but I do think her vibe, her energy is all giving very much like, I don't want to be here. So when the friends called it out, and then she was like, basically, like, I'm still talking, like, I'm just trying to very sternly say that I'm not feeling it. I'm like, yeah, but you're not even giving like jovial, light, like, let's, you've checked out, and it's hard to then watch. So to be honest, I don't think it's, well, about to say, I don't think it's a bad thing that he didn't come home. It is weird to think that you're gonna like leave her in your house or you gonna sleep at the office on the sofa. Like, that's a bit weird. And I do think she's right in saying that that's not how you deal with an argument. but without knowing what was said in the argument, we don't know whether that was the best thing to do, whether it was just best just to kind of remove myself and come back at it with a fresh mind. But you know, when he went to go and see his mum and his auntie, and they were just so sad. And there's nothing worse than your mum crying. Sorry, like that's an instant. I'm crying. If you're crying, I'm crying because you're my mum. Like I can't. What do you mean you're gonna cry? Like what? But I do think they were right to say, look, if there is even the smallest chance, you owe it to yourself to at least try. So at least then, if he knows he didn't go to her homestay in Weymouth, then he can say, well, actually, you know what? I didn't even try. So who to say? Who to say? But to know that he did go, and then the mum and the sister, her mum and sister, kind of confirmed the same thing. It's like, well, bro, you don't really. I mean, I didn't think you stood a chance anyway, but now your friend is saying it's doomed. You know, her mum and sister are saying it's doomed. Sometimes you just aren't compatible with someone, regardless of how much you want it to be. And I suppose, you know, the initial attraction was there, the buzz of the day, the fact you turn around, it's not Hagrid's, you know, ugly cousin. You're gonna be a bit swept up in that, oh my god, everything's great, until you start to dig a bit deeper. And you know, I've been saying this the whole time that like it just requires just some chat, man. And as nice as you are, if you can't provide that you know, intelligent stimulation, that emotional connection, then it is just going to die. There's nothing else there. Looks can only get you so far, man. Do you know what I mean? I literally was watching the episode of Friends today, the one with the empty vase. You know, oh no, I've touched you. I was in my beautiful vase, my beautiful visage with nothing inside it, and you know, it's just like, just like again, she had that bounce with Steven, and it was so effortless and easy. You know, it's just I just don't think he's wired in that kind of way, and that's fine. He hasn't got to be. Not everyone's gonna be the same. Can't believe I just gave Steven a compliment. But yeah, like it's doomed, man. It is. I don't see any hope for that at all. But fair play. And then obviously Leah and Lee. I think yeah, I kind of went off Leah a little bit because I was like, I don't think she has respected Lee's boundaries, and some might say the boundaries are too strict and actually they're too unrealistic. But I think if someone, it takes discussion, doesn't it? And I think that's the thing for me. It's like you're gonna continue to kind of like laugh about these things and stuff, which someone is clearly uncomfortable with. And you did flirt with Leisha, do you know what I mean? And you did do things that I don't think Lee would have appreciated. But again, I think in Leah's defense, these are all things that you would naturally do, I think, a little bit, like in and amongst your friends and stuff. Like there's certain innuendos that you'll have where you're not going to be, you know, you're not gonna be some kind of like priest and like a not talk to friends in a candid kind of way. So I guess in a way, her kind of continuing to push back on it by like, this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be, I think is in one sense is good. But I think they could have maybe spoke about it a bit more in order so Lee could understand that. But either way, you know, it got to the point where, you know, Lee wasn't coming. She then went. It was still very frosty. And I mean, I didn't quite understand the mechanics of this thing. So Leah had met someone at this bar, didn't introduce him to Lee, carried on talking to this girl. When Lee was gonna go home, Leah was gonna stay out. Like, I'd be a little bit like, well, who is this then? Like, I think I'd be kind of the same, particularly knowing that I've got those kind of boundaries. So I kind of was on Lee's side. And then seeing how Leah was with Leisha, I was a bit like, well, you're taking the mick a bit before. So, but I do think that when Lee met with Leah's family, and they could really understand her perspective, but also gave the perspective of what Leah's like as a person, I think that did really help. And obviously then, you know, Leah doing that amazing romantic dinner, but before that, taking her on that beach and just showing what life is like. I guess, you know, it's a good lesson in that sometimes we think we know what things are going to be like, and sometimes, I mean, I'm guilty of it as well. I'm like, I'm not going, not interested, no. And then every single time I do go, I'm like, I'm so glad I went. Like either more insight or just pure enjoyment. So and imagine if Lee had not gone. Imagine had she not gone to homestay, she would not have met with Leah's family. She would not have seen what her home life is like. Leah wouldn't have had the opportunity in which to kind of do that romantic gesture for her. You know, and I think they're now in a really good spot. So yeah, I'm very keen to see what happens in the next episode for them. And then the last one obviously is Nelly and Steven. So I think, because I was really baffled as to how they even got to homestays. I was like, how have you even got to homestays here? Because the way that you left things last time with how he was with April and to be honest, I still don't really think it's that disrespectful about the picture with him and April. Depending on who it was and how it was delivered, I think the way that Steven's been and the way that Steven and Nelly's relationship has been, I can understand why that would be disrespectful to Nelly. But I think to anybody else who was like friends with another wife or another husband and stuff, I wouldn't see that as a problem. Do you know what I mean? Because this is the time that we had a great time, and it's not like that's the only picture that was up there. But I suppose it's not really about the picture. It's about the fact that, like, even in their own apartment, like, you haven't got any pictures of you and Nelly, or you've not done anything like that spontaneous for you and Nelly, and that's a reminder of this person that you've had so much fun with that isn't Nelly. I think in that regard, that I can understand being disrespectful. So Nelly's come to Manchester on her own because Steven's like, I'm not coming. I categorically don't want to do that. Safe. He got some things he needs to think through. But I'm just like, what do you need to think through? How have you guys not already done up like, there is, what is here? What is keeping you to this man? What is keeping you to Nelly? Like, I don't understand it. So then her mum and her brother come over. The mum's obviously distraught and upset that Nelly's been treated in the way that she has. The brother is again like just, I already knew this from when we came to come see you at dinner. You know, answering, 5 different ways of answering a question and just not being very straightforward, and it's just not the kind of thing you want to hear for your sibling, your cousin, your loved one. And the mom just like, he doesn't deserve you. He doesn't deserve to be married to you. He doesn't deserve to be friends with you. You deserve more than this. And she's just like, yeah, it's giving me a bit more clarity about, and I'm just like, Nelly, what more clarity do you need? What more clarity do you need? So then she eventually starts talking to her housemate and starts explaining everything that's happened and stuff. And listen, there is nobody more protective than your best friend, I'm telling you, because like they already put you on a pedestal because they love you so much, as you do them. And the fact that someone can come into your life and not treat you just as amazingly as they know you to be, like, for any reason whatsoever, they're on it. And she did not disappoint. She was best friend 101, like, got the glass of wine in the blanket, just being this, like, all the right facial expressions at all the right times, all the right, like, incredulous, just like, I cannot believe him at all the right time. Like, she smashed it, absolutely smashed it. So I was like, I mean, obviously we know that Steven's going to turn up at some point because we've seen the clip. So I'm just thinking, why? I don't know what kind of lines then you're walking into, fam, but like, I can understand why you probably walked out before I saw the clip. So, as she's talking to her housemate, Steven sends her a message and a text message saying like, "Oh, I've been thinking. I've had some time to refresh. I'm gonna come and see you tomorrow in Manchester." Da, 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 da. But it's just a very blunt message, and I love the fact that because I was like, maybe she's reading like, halfway into the message or whatever. But the friend was like, how disrespectful. Not even a hi, how are you, how is it being back, or any of those niceties. Just straight into, I needed to clear my head and I'm gonna come and see you tomorrow. Now I don't know about anybody else, right? But how the VT was kind of set up, I did, because I didn't hear him say, I really want to make this marriage work. I've been thinking I want to like, to me, it was edited like he was coming to break up with her. I don't know if anyone else got that kind of vibe. Like, there's nothing positive that I was getting that he like, I need to have a conversation with her face to face. I owe it to her to have a conversation with her. So I'm just like, you owe it to have that last conversation. That's the vibe I got. So I don't know. I didn't get the vibe he was looking to rekindle anything. And obviously the friend is just like, you've not rated her, you've not respected her, you've not treated her well. At which he's not having any of it. So, but before all of that, Nelly's like, I've got some things that have been answered for me, but some things still don't make sense. So, she asked him Why, when he was talking about April and basically how much fun that he was having with her and stuff, because she'd obviously come back and said how Bailey had treated her and made her kind of appreciate what was missing in the relationship and stuff. Like, but why was it then when he's speaking about April, it was almost like a direct comparison to her and how much like fun that he was having with April and not having with Nelly. And he was like, because that, you know, I can imagine that was pretty awful and stuff for you. And then as they're having that conversation, that's when the housemate comes in and joins in, and then she jumps on the attack as well. Really, it's been, but I say attack, holding him accountable. That's the thing. Like, it's really easy for him to kind of be like, you know, well, because he was talking about he said something like "with respect, darling" or something, and it's like all of that kind of chat there is disrespectful. Again, not even looking at Nelly when he was talking to her, and I think this is the thing that made me angry when I was watching the clip with him and April and how nice he was being to April. It's like, you know, I get that Nelly is quite demanding of the thing that she wants, the thing that she needs. But I think I think that maybe the instantaneous kind of tone that you get from Nelly and maybe what he's hearing from Nelly, he's probably like a little bit checked out of it, because when that tone starts for him, it's like, oh, here we go again kind of thing. That's kind of where I think he's at with that, and I think that's maybe the reason why he's not able to give Nelly the same time and respect as he gives to other people, because he hasn't got any reason to be like that with them. It's all fun and frivolity and stuff, whereas with Nelly, it's been thing after thing where he's had to kind of suck things up, and he's probably just fed up of sucking things up. He's probably like, I'm just done. I'm but then if you're like that, then it's better that you just leave rather than you, a bit like, as I said with April and Leo, rather than you letting this person have any kind of hope or keep raking them over the coals, or to, you know, watch them kind of like self-destruct each and every week because they're not getting what they need from you. It's better to leave, just go, just allow it. So I don't know why he didn't come to say, look, I think it's over, I think, you know, you're a lovely person, and he was like, you know, you deserve the world. And she's like, and the friend's like, well, if you deserve the world, what have you been doing wasting their time? And he's like, well, I haven't been wasting the time. Well, you have been, because you just say she deserves the world and you're not giving it to her, are you? And I like the fact that she had Nelly's back like that. I really do. But I do also feel like, as I said, I feel like it's got to the point for him that he just associates Nelly with something negative. I think, anyway, that's just my opinion from what I'm watching. I feel like he associates Nelly with something negative because every time that he has an interaction with her, it results in something where he's left feeling like he's a bad person for the things that but again, for the things he's doing, quite rightly so. But it doesn't change what the emotion is with that. The emotion is, I'm frustrated, I'm fed up, I'm angry, and I guess he's now letting all of that out on Nelly. Which again isn't right either. So again, he should just leave. But then the piece of bad boy information that got dropped though was apparently that he's on some kind of dating app, and that he liked or matched with someone's profile that day. The friend was just like, oh, you know, this is you. And he's like, it's not me. Like, ends up, well, it is you because it's a verified account. And he's like, well, it's not me. So he's on his phone trying to work out something. She shows it to Nelly. Nelly's just like, right, okay. I think the thing that I couldn't understand, because I don't remember, like, I have had dating apps and stuff, and definitely verified, like on Tinder. I'm trying to think, like, the verification process was really simple. Like, it wasn't anything like, to be honest, I don't even remember what it was. I don't know if you had to like show other pictures to show that it was you, or that it looked at your face to verify that it looked like you that were in the picture. I can't remember, but I think it was the latter. I think it was like turning your camera on and like ensuring and having to turn certain ways to make sure it was you in those pictures. So on the one hand, I was like, I'm kind of in her camp, being like, well, if it's verified, then it must be you. But then when he showed that his account had been removed, I was like, well, okay, so why? He's saying that he can't even sign into his account because the profile's been removed. But why would his profile have been removed? Like, he would, unless someone's reported his account to say, oh, it's not him, and then they've taken the steps to remove the account because they think it's fraudulent. But he wouldn't have known that unless, oh, sorry, he would have known that, and he would have said, oh, someone was using my pictures, they've removed my account, or there was no recognition of the fact that this account that had matched with this other account was him. He was like, that's just not me. And we do know there are people that do catfish out there and steal other people's photographs and stuff. So I was like, well, is there a chance that she could be wrong and actually someone has verified the account as him, but it's not him? But again, I can't remember how you verify it, so I'm a little bit stuck. So I'll be interested if anyone does know that, like, what your thoughts were on it. But it all comes down to the point, yeah, of this is all moot, really, because realistically, if he was the kind of person that was in this anyway, we wouldn't even be at the point where this is something that could even be like discussed. Because if he was like, say, a Bailey, or he was, say, a John, for example, there'd be no question if something like that came up that it was obviously a fake account, someone's using his pictures. But because there was so much stuff, him cussing her out, cussing off Nelly, him not coming home and kind of leaving her on her own, like, which again in itself is such a red flag. To be like, if she's broken a rib, she's physically in pain, and you couldn't be there to support her. Like, it was more important for you to go down the pub and drink. Whereas you'd think if you had bad news about your family member being in hospital, that like you would want that comfort from the person that like you spent that much time with, who you could probably have a drink with as well, like, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's a big red flag. The stay for now, which is just so like, just leave then. Like, don't embarrass me like that in front of everybody. Like lauding about the fact that you've got this greater connection with someone and that she's brought the fun back and you've opened up to her, and it's just all of it is giving like just disdain for someone. And I think when that starts, you should just leave and not put them through anymore. So he ends up leaving anyway, and taking off his picking up his trainers and off the door. But I don't know. Nelly said the wedding's over, the marriage is over, taking off a ring, and he's like, "Yeah, sorry, Nelly, but I gotta go." So I don't know. I don't know where that kind of leaves them, really. Like, I would hope it is the end, and she's not putting herself through any more like embarrassment online. But again, I can't even cuss her too much, because I know there's people out there, myself included, that have stayed too long, have stayed longer than we should have done. Yeah, have kind of, told ourselves that maybe it's not happening as I think it's happening because you like the person. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I can understand wanting to give it more chances, but I think I would have to draw the line on something so public. Sorry, I think something that's on a TV program, like, if there was anything that disrespected me, like the uphill battle that you would have to kind of like bring me back on side, knowing full well that it's not just me. It's not just me now having to my own feelings. I have to reconcile like how I feel about what you've just done there. I now have to kind of face people that I love and that I trust and that I respect, who are also looking at me just being like, oh, no, thank you. Not doing that. Not in this 2025 on TV. Not at all. So yeah, I'm hoping it is the end for them. And yeah, I think the two worst people on this for me this season have definitely been Julia-Ruth and Steven. I just think they're awful. I just think they're just not great at all. And again, I know there's lots that we don't see. There's only this much footage, but you see, even if that footage there, right? If that footage, right, didn't exist, if you didn't act in that way, that footage wouldn't be there. So it's all well and good trying to say I'm gonna paint you out to be X, Y, and Z, but if you're not exhibiting those kind of behaviors, there's nothing to showcase, is there? There's no narrative to run. There's no context to spin. Like, that is you in that footage, regardless. So yeah, and then for the next episode, which is tonight's one, now we've got Grace and Ashley. So I think they've got separate homestays. You've got Leisha and Reese, and it looks as though that, like, she's again falling for Reese. Kieran David. I think that's it. So yeah, let's see what happens next. But yeah, as I don't know whether this will be. No, I do know. I don't think I'll be reacting to Married at First Sight again after this season. Even if it's something that I end up watching, maybe I think the investment of time on a show that has got so many potential holes in, like, just for being like toxic and stuff. I'm just like, I don't know if that's something I want to give my time to. But anyway, I'd love to know what you guys made of this, if you are still watching it and plan to watch the next one as well. So let me know what you thought of this episode. If you did enjoy this reaction, then do drop me a like and subscribe. That'd be amazing. Thank you very much. And if you do want access to my reactions before they come to YouTube, then please head over to my Patreon, which is a great way to help support the channel, and it's a great way to connect with me more as well. But for now, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.